Good morning. Some of you may be wondering why I haven't commented on the most recent mass shooting in Texas, the school shooting, where yet another teenager got his hands on weapons he shouldn't have access to and murdered innocent classmates and teachers. Well, I didn't comment on it because it's really not breaking news anymore, is it? It's like just another day at the office. It's normal. It's our new normal, where it seems every couple of weeks we get a story about these horrific crimes committed by mentally ill people, people who, as obviously this young man couldn't take rejection from a girl he liked, so he went into the school and killed her and a bunch of other innocent people because he wasn't taught how to take rejection from a girl. Oh, poor baby. So no, I really don't have any comment on this. To me, it's not breaking news anymore. It's just another day at the office, and that's really sad. Until our lawmakers grow a pair, grow a set of cojones, and actually do something about it and challenge the Second Amendment, like they are challenging the other amendment we're going to be talking about today, there's nothing that's going to change. More innocent lives will be lost. More mentally ill people will get their hands on weapons they have no right to have, and they will threaten the innocent among us. So that's all I have to say about that. Now, we have another amendment under threat once again. The amendment to our Constitution that was put in there in 1974 by the Supreme Court when we had Roe v. Wade, that made abortion legal and made it a choice for any woman in this country who chooses to have it. And there is a big threat coming right now. There is a bill that is up to be passed, and President Trump says he will sign it, that any clinic, any medical provider that receives federal funding will not only not be allowed to perform abortions, they will not be allowed to refer their patients to clinics or doctors who can perform this legal procedure that is every woman's right. Now, I don't care what you think about abortion. This is not an abortion debate. You can have your opinion about abortion all you want. That's your right. If you don't want abortion, if you don't like abortion, don't have one. Don't allow your daughters to have one. That's your right. But it is not your right to forbid me or women, young women I care about, or young rape victims, or older women whose pregnancies threaten their very lives. It's not your right to stop them from using their Supreme Court constitutionally protected right. They have as much right to have an abortion as you have to own an AR-15, because they're in the same piece of paper. The Second Amendment that all of you gun lovers tote out every time someone even thinks about changing the gun laws in this country to protect innocent people. But you have no problem messing with a woman's reproductive organs, like somehow you have a right to decide what happens in my body. I call BS. You don't have that right. You know who this law is going to hurt? And again, put your thumbs away about, oh, abortion's murder. Bullshit. Government sanctions murder every time they send troops into a foreign country with tanks and missiles and bombs. Our American soldiers have killed innocent men, women, and children in foreign countries in every war we participated in. Government-sanctioned murder. Okay? Every time someone on death row is given a lethal injection, that is government-sanctioned murder. And the strangest, most ironic thing is most evangelical Christians, who are the ones that are pushing our government officials, we're not going to vote for you unless you ban abortion in this country and force women to be barefoot and pregnant in their kitchens, force rape victims to give birth to their attackers' babies and be part of their lives forever. Until you do that, we won't vote for you. These people love the death penalty. They love it when someone convicted of a crime is put to death by the government. So the government has no problem with murdering people. And that's what the death penalty is. It is government-funded, sanctioned murder. They stick a needle in your arm and pump poison into you. And you're dead. And there have been cases, by the way, where innocent people have been killed by the government. It was found out later they were wrongly convicted, and they're dead. So don't talk to me about government doesn't believe in murder. This has nothing to do with murder. It has to do with religion. And once again, separation church and state, right? The church and the evangelical Christians know religion is supposed to make laws that affect every American citizen because, believe it or not everybody in this country believes the way you believe, and you have no right to force your beliefs on anybody else. You don't like abortion, don't get one. This law is going to hurt poor women, poor teenagers, poor people. Because let me tell you the truth, people. Let's get the facts out there. Rich people don't have babies they don't want. Rich people's teenage daughters who get raped don't give birth to their rapist babies. Do you know why? Because rich people get their rich baby princess daughters abortions. They have no problem getting an abortion for their rape victim daughter. A 41-year-old rich woman who gets pregnant and the doctor says this pregnancy will kill you, she'll get an abortion tomorrow. Her insurance won't pay for it because that's the other thing the government has done. Insurance companies and Medicaid, the insurance for the poor, they're not allowed to pay for an abortion. But they certainly are allowed to take mine and my husband's tax dollars and pay for poor women to have babies they can't afford. Isn't that ironic? I have to pay for babies whose mothers wish they had never been born. But they couldn't afford an abortion. But the state says and the government says, don't worry, we'll take care of you and your baby, sweetheart. We'll take Paula and Jason's money. We'll take your neighbor's money and give it to you. They'll go out and work. You can sit at home and just give birth to your baby and hang out. We'll give you the internet. We'll give you a TV. We'll give you a cell phone. We'll give you a house. We'll pay for your medical care. But don't you dare get an abortion because that you have to pay for by yourself. I remember when I was poor and was using Planned Parenthood for my health care, for my birth control, so I wouldn't need an abortion. And I was standing behind a woman, and she was there with her very young daughter, and her daughter was pregnant. And she said to the Planned Parenthood clinic in Lancaster, I want my daughter, and we want her to have an abortion. And the Planned Parenthood clinic said, we don't do them here. And the woman said, please, where can we go? My daughter cannot have this baby. And they said, well, there's a clinic in Philadelphia. And the woman said, but I don't have money. How am I going to get to Philadelphia? And they said, well, all we can tell you is that the clinic is there. Here's their phone number. And this woman was in tears. Her daughter was in tears. They did not have money for a train ticket. They didn't even have a car. How are they going to get to Philadelphia, an hour and a half from Lancaster? I often wonder, because back then I wasn't political Paula. I wonder what happened to that young girl, if she was forced to give birth to her child, and if that ruined her life, like many teenage women's lives are ruined when they are forced to give birth to a child they never wanted. Maybe she had plans to go to college or to do something with her life that was ruined because of her unwanted pregnancy. You can say all you want about you play, you pay, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, even those who are the most careful, who use birth control, it doesn't always work. Some women have been told because they are of an advancing age, they should not get pregnant. They get pregnant anyway, and then they are told if they continue with the pregnancy, they will lose their life. The only way to save the woman's life is an abortion. Now, I want to give you another example of how this law is going to be a slippery slope, because if the government can force a medical provider to keep important medical information from you, the patient, such as, well, you do have the option of abortion. See, that's what this law would do. Even Planned Parenthood would not be able to say the word abortion to you. What if there was something in your body? Say it's a tumor. It's not going to kill you, but it's going to cause you excruciating pain and suffering, possibly keep you from working, which means it would financially be a hardship on you. And say you go to a clinic because you're poor, you don't have good health insurance. And because the government doesn't like the treatment for that tumor, because some Christian people or some religious group has said they don't like the treatment for that tumor, the clinic you go to for your medical care is banned from telling you about a treatment that could cure you, that could remove the tumor from your body and make you well again, make you healthy again, make you able to work and earn money again. What if that happened? And you're rolling your eyes right now. I can see you. I know some of you are going, oh, a fetus, a pregnancy isn't a tumor. To some women, it is. To me, you all know my story. If I had ever gotten pregnant after I almost died in 1990, to me, pregnancy was a disease equal or worse than cancer. And I would have wanted a pregnancy removed from my body just as quickly as if I had a tumor in my breast. I would want my breast cut off. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of women feel. Now, I was a lucky person. I was always lucky. First of all, I had access to excellent birth control, and I used it properly, and it worked. For 30 years, birth control worked. I was so blessed. And I was also lucky because I had money. I had the $900 in the bank that I needed if I ever did get pregnant. And I had the transportation means to go anywhere I needed to get an abortion, which I would have done with not even a single regret. Because I love me, and I come first. And my body doesn't do pregnancy well. I learned that in 1990. And when something almost kills me, I don't do it again. I don't do it again. I read the statistics. I know 60% chance of having a second ectopic pregnancy after you've had a first one. I wasn't going through that again. If I were raped and got pregnant to my rapist, no way on this earth would I give birth to the monster who violated me, to his spawn. No way would I give him or his family any access or right to my life after, hopefully, my testimony put his ass in jail where he belonged. He would not ever be part of my life, nor would his family members who raised a rapist. Sorry, but that's how I feel. This law is dangerous. It is not only dangerous because it affects mostly poor women, women who use federally funded clinics as their only source of medical care, but the fact that it also violates our main right in this country, which is separation of church and state. No religious group of any sort is supposed to have any role in making laws that govern all of us, because all of us don't believe as they do. We're not forced to. This is not a kind of a state that we bomb, like the Middle East, where they force everyone to do the same religion. We don't do that in America. Everyone has their right to believe in anything they choose or nothing at all. And therefore, we cannot allow any religious groups to start influencing our lawmakers to make laws because of their personal religious beliefs. That's their personal beliefs. They have every right to them. Nobody's questioning that. What they don't have the right to do is to go against the Constitution, which says that a woman, and only a woman, the woman, has the right to decide what happens in her body. Not the church down the street, not the priest, certainly not the United States government. They don't have the right to force a woman to go through a pregnancy she doesn't want, to give birth to a child she doesn't want and is incapable of raising. They don't have that right. And by holding federal funding hostage like a carrot, like some churches dangle communion as a hostage, do what we say or we won't give you communion. Now the federal government wants to tell federally funded clinics, if you tell any woman she is eligible for an abortion or you get her an abortion, we're not going to give you any money so that you can help other poor women. This is wrong, people. It's something you should be following, and that's why I consider this breaking news, because you didn't hear a lot about it. I heard about it one time on a blip on the Today Show, one time, and it was so short I had to Google it to find out the whole story. We have to understand that while we all have the right to believe in whatever God we choose, we do not have the right to force other people to live the way we live. I don't have the right to force someone who I don't think should have a child to have an abortion. And believe me, there have been some that I believe should not have become parents. There have been some people that got pregnant and I thought, you are out of your fucking mind. But it's not my business. I can't do anything about it. So then why is it that some people believe that if a young girl is raped and gets pregnant, that they have the right to force her to keep the pregnancy, to give birth to her rapist's child, to spend Christmas with her rapist's family, to possibly even have her rapist getting visitation rights to her child because it's his child? How dare anybody who questions me when I'm accused of judging people who collect welfare and continue to have children, when I question the Duggar family because I think they are obsessed with parenthood and pregnancy, I get called out because it's not my business. Well, guess what? It's none of your business if a poor woman gets pregnant by accident or her birth control fails her. It's not your right to deny her her right that the Supreme Court gave her to an abortion, if that is the choice she makes. Most people don't like it when they think I'm judging them. They get angry with me. Well, now we're tit for tat, because I don't like it when someone who has never met me judges me, calls me a cold-hearted, barren bitch, tells me that my life is worthless because I refused to procreate, calls me a murderer because I support a woman's right to choose what goes on in her own body, and to, even if she is poor, expect the same health care from a federally funded clinic that she would get if she was a millionaire's wife or daughter, going to a fancy clinic to get her abortion, which would never be denied to the millionaire's daughter, but is now possibly going to be denied to those who actually need it the most. Think about this. And before you start putting your thumbs up and start writing me evil things about how I'm a horrible person and I believe in murdering little babies. Well, guess what? Little babies are murdered every single day in our schools. And everybody toots out the Second Amendment to keep that happening. Because it's going to keep happening. Little babies are born every day with horrible birth defects because their parents, their mothers are told that abortion is murder. They suffer all of their lives. They die horrible deaths. And believe it or not, little babies are killed every single day by mothers who were forced to give birth to them, didn't want them in the first place, and who are overwhelmed with caring for them. Susan Smith, Andrea Yates comes to mind. And of course that chick in Florida who got away with murdering her 2-year-old because, oh my God, the little girl was messing with her party time. Kaylee Anthony. So let's remember that. And see if maybe we can come to an agreement that just like the Second Amendment, the amendment that protects abortion, is also part of our Constitution and needs to be adhered to and respected just as much as an AR-15 is respected by those who blanket themselves in our Second Amendment. Political Paula, out.